Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L coming in with a My Hero Academia video. This time specifically, this is my traitor theory officially for Hatsune Mei, because I'm saying Hatsune Mei is the traitor. If there is a traitor in general. Anyway, this is pretty much my #1 pick, and I just want to make a video just to properly explain what I'm thinking. And I like it a lot because people don't like it when I say that Mei is the traitor, or I believe that Mei is the traitor. So in some part, I do it because I like instigating. But anyway, yeah, in this video, I'm going to give you my thought process on why I believe she might be the traitor. And even if Mei wasn't the traitor, I think there are little morsels that you can adapt into your own theories, so I think it'll be worthwhile. Also, hey, subscribe. We're going for 100,000 subscribers. Be part of the legend. Thanks. Anyway, let's get into it. Why I think Mei could be the traitor. My basic idea is Mei becomes the traitor by selling information to Giran specifically, who then forwards it to the villains. And she does this so that she could have money to build her inventions. That's the basic idea. Now, beginning with personality and motive, why would she be okay with being a traitor? I would argue that Mei has what TV tropes would call blue and orange morality, which is just the idea that a character has an irregular moral compass. Because of that, we can't evaluate Mei on the typical good action versus evil action scale. She has different priorities. I think you would agree with that. I argue that Mei values her babies or her inventions and her invention success over the people using the inventions. This idea puts a natural wall between her and someone like Izuku. I believe you could say Mei only cares about Izuku because he's wearing her stuff. What this part is meant to say is that she has a mentality that would go well with being a traitor, that is, apathy towards potential victims. Here's my evidence to support my viewpoint. First off, one of her establishing moments, chapter 35, Ida versus Mei. This was the best expression of Mei's perspective. She forwent everything that everyone else in the tournament was going after what she wanted. The best example we have to say that she operates on a different scale. In this battle, we had Mei expertly and knowingly take advantage of Ida to get what she wants. She didn't care about Ida's feelings, she just cared about getting her babies in front of the right eyes, scarring Ida in the process. Within the scene, we also see her acknowledge that she used Ida as she giggled to herself, and we had Izuku acknowledging that she uses underhanded methods. Everyone that saw her knows she's a regular and knows that she took Ida for a ride. Next, we go to around chapter 100 and 101, another strong Mei showing, still painting her motive. These chapters give us amazing quotes and further the idea that Mei thinks differently. First, with regards to furthering the idea that Mei doesn't really care about someone like Izuku, she forgets their names and promptly ignores them until tech stuff comes up, and then she is nonchalant with the discomfort she causes. Power Loader makes a comment about Mei having a giant ego. Why does that matter? It matters because people with giant egos have an easier time disregarding other people's misfortunes in pursuit of their own egoic pleasure. Now, another thing that Power Loader says about Mei is that the best innovators are unconstrained by convention. Now, full disclosure, I am totally manipulating this by taking a point of view that helps my point, obviously. But how often do we have stories saying that morals and ethics restrain progress? It wouldn't be hard to say Mei gets so far because she was willing to acquire funds to further her inventions by any means necessary, but that one would be a bit of a stretch. Now, in case you haven't noticed, what I am doing in this portion is pretty much just character assassination. I'm just trying to set up a situation where it's more likely to agree that Mei would have the disposition that would allow her to be a traitor. Now, there are some comments against Mei being the traitor by personality. One is that Mei is aware of the idea of bad guys, as she was able to refer to people as bad guys. Another Power Loader sets her up as the one supporting the kids in the future. Now, that could be a statement that foreshadows her value, or that could be an ironic statement that could be legit foreshadowing to her being a traitor. It'd be like it'd be a statement that was there to be proven wrong. Anyway, with these pages, we've built an argument saying that Mei cares more about her inventions than the people wearing it, and have further shown that she is pretty nonchalant about the misfortune that her inventions and the process of making her inventions might cause. Not saying that she's a traitor, but she's definitely focused on one particular thing. And now we're going to build an argument for why she would choose to be a traitor. Like I said, it's for her babies. Power Loader shows us Mei's piles of inventions, and he's very clear to emphasize that those were made after Mei came to UA. That line implies Mei has been making inventions since before UA. There's no way she gets into UA without any practice in the field to be able to make things at the rate she does, especially considering the high level robotics she works on. In fact, I think UA is a means to an end for her. It's an environment that lets Mei build her babies. Anyway, it's easy to say that Mei wouldn't need money once she's in UA, but we have to ask, if Mei was making inventions before getting into high school, where was she getting the funds and the materials in order to make those inventions? Look, the easiest way this works is that before UA, Mei made contact with Giran and was making money selling stuff to him. Maybe she sold him inventions. Anyway, the way I see it is all Giran has to say to Mei is that he'll give her more money so that she can use that money to get things that UA may not be able to provide her with. Even though that statement itself kinda weak to imagine something that UA can't get, but that's an idea of what Giran would have to say to coax her. Considering the mindset she has, I don't think she'd mind selling out the heroes. Like, I don't think that would, like, the ramifications of that would occur to her. We haven't seen her address any of the events in Hero Academia, so it's hard to gauge how much she actually cares about the heroes situation in general. Now, one more thing I want to show you guys is from the official My Hero Academia spin-offs, because there's some concerning things here. Note though, the canonicity of these spin-offs are questionable, but this is probably a good representation of Mei's psyche. Just gonna show you some of the highlights. In this spin-off material, we have Melissa and Mei competing with their inventions. You want to know the crux of their argument? It's Mei disagreeing with the idea that you have to listen to the requests of your clients. You talk to any engineer or software developer and they will tell you that flat out ignoring a client's requests is insane. That's a very quick way to lose a job. If you're a dev or an engineer, you would have horror stories of going to meetings with clients where you are trying to reduce the scope of a project through compromise or something, but the clients just aren't having it. Now, it's true that sometimes clients don't know what they want, but that's not where you ignore them. That's where you go to meetings with them and you try to explain things to them so that they can go for something that's more feasible or they know where they're headed with their project. Mei legitimately doesn't understand that concept at the start of the chapter. Also, devs in the comments, feel free to vouch for this process if you would like. Anyway, back into the spin-off materials, Mei says some very in-character stuff during that chapter, like, Midoriya is an amateur when it comes to support items, and she uses that as a reason as to why it's okay to ignore his requests. And then at the end she said that it's important to listen to the requests of big companies. It had a nice story and a good enough resolution, but it is the ultimate example of Mei cares more about her inventions than she does people prior to the intervention. One important thing to note though is that Mei legitimately learned a lesson in that spin-off chapter, which could play into a story arc about her realizing the ramifications of her actions if she were the traitor. Anyway, enough building up of the motive and the mentality to be a traitor. Let's look at circumstantial evidence, starting with my favorite one. Mei just casually has a flying drone called Third Eye. That just screams that this is a spying device to me. Mei has the tech to keep an eye on people. Now, the negative is, we did see a shot that implied Mei hasn't worked the kinks out, which honestly, typical Mei, but that imperfect nature does give a way to make it more innocent. Anyway, through this scene, we see that Mei likes hanging out in the woods and testing gadgets. Another scene way back when in chapter 12, we had Shigaraki busting down the barrier, letting the press in, thereby triggering alarms. This scene only makes sense as a distraction. Shigaraki did one thing, disintegrate a door, and then he let nature take its course. I think it's clear that this was a distraction. The traitor used this opportunity to take the roster for the USJ attendees. We do know from Kurogiri that they were able to receive that roster. In regards to the Mei theory, this tells me that a teacher isn't the traitor because a teacher doesn't need a distraction, but Mei might need it if she needs to sneak into a room. Secondly, UA is covered in security robots and cameras, and that roster might have been on a password locked computer. Mei is one of the few people that could realistically have the skills to shut down electronics temporarily and maybe be able to hack some computer records. And just for the record, Mei can most definitely program. At the very least, she knows how to program firmware because of the degree of complexity that her inventions have. She needs to know how to program the bridge between the signals the inventions receive and the inventions themselves and how they process those signals. Now, if this schedule was out in the open like it was a paper copy, then obviously you don't need Mei because anyone could do that after they get into the room that has the paper copy. Another note though is that Kurogiri's words imply that neither he nor Shigaraki got the schedule themselves. It would be a safe assumption to say that Giran gave it to them. In regards to the summer camp, all it takes is Mei putting one simple GPS tracker on anyone's gear or even the bus. If Momo can make one off the top of her head, Mei can definitely implant a very simple GPS tracker anywhere she wants. In chapter 242, Nezu says that he's seen no suspicious behavior at the dorms, even though Mei is sneaking around in the morning to test her devices, and therefore concludes that the kids aren't spying. And All Might says that the kids in the hero course have heroic hearts. That could be the tricky indication that it's someone outside of the hero course, or it could be the author setting up that All Might is having a failure in judgment. Finally, did you know that Giran was the man that threw doubt on the support companies first? In chapter 57, he was the one talking about how support companies were selling to non-heroes. Back in the day before the stressed out Baldy arc, I took this as a subtle indicator that the support department was sketch, which led me to Mei. Nowadays, we can assume that this was probably a nod to the big stressed out Baldy arc, but it's just interesting to note. Anyway, at the end of the day, Mei is an opportunistic, self-serving person. I don't think we can really disagree with that, especially with early Mei. If it is beneficial to her, she will only then have an interest. That doesn't mean she's a traitor, however, it just means she's an inventor. But if it turned out she was a traitor, there's enough circumstantial evidence to accept that she's a traitor and not feel cheated. And I think that's where the biggest value of this video is. I'm not sure if there actually is a traitor in Hero Academia anymore. It's just such a strange issue in general. But the point of this is, if Mei were the traitor, there is a way to justify it. There is a way to say that that wouldn't be a cheap solution, because there's enough here to work with, which I think is the cool thing about this idea. But yeah, that is my biggest bet for traders. I don't know, it might change very soon in the future with the current chapters of Hero Academia. We're on the week of Hero Academia's 282nd chapter. So, you know, things could get a little bit crazy, like even 8 chapters away from now. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought down below. Let me know if you have anything you want to disagree with or anything you agree with. And let me know like your favorite picks for Traitor. I do have another Traitor video that I do want to put up. It is just the crack theories for traders. Pretty much just the random things that I don't really have enough evidence for, but I think are funny. So keep an eye out for that. And till next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day. And thank you so much for watching.